Cardano or Solana? Which is the better blockchain? That is the topic of this article. So far this year, Cardano is up over 900%, and Solana's gone up over 13,000%. So both have had crazy growth in 2021. At the time of this recording, Cardano and Solana are neck and neck in the top 10, and they keep swapping positions every week or so hopefully. By the end of this article, you will understand both protocols better and make a more informed decision regarding investing. And as I find it a bit annoying when a presenter finishes saying both are equal, I will reveal if I had to choose which one it would be. So in this article, we'll be looking at a snapshot overview for each and including the key metrics. Then something really important is the use cases, what is going on with the protocols right now. I'll cover the main pros and cons, and then we'll finish with the summary and my thoughts on each. Two of crypto's powerhouses are going up head to head. Is there a superior chain? Is there a clear winner? Let's do this. Quick stats: we have Cardano versus Solana. First up, the founders Charles Hoskinson versus Anatoly Yakovenko, and Charles Hoskinson has an academic background. His background is in maths, highly educated, versus Anatoly Yakovenko, who's most well known for his time at Qualcomm. Working as an engineer for several years, their consensus mechanism is both proofs of stake. So they're both very similar. Where it differs, Cardano's innovation is the Ouroboros platform built using the scientific method. A very strong, robust peer-reviewed platform. Versus the innovation from Anatoly, which he says was a caffeine tequila-induced epiphany in the middle of the night, which was proof of history where he timestamps transactions. Now to understand this, think about Bitcoin and where Bitcoin and Ethereum use proof of work, which involves a computer trying to solve a hard equation. The idea is that fake computers can't solve real problems. So because this takes time to solve the problem and make sure that the blocks are put in the right place, Bitcoin and Ethereum are quite slow. The breakthrough with proof of history is the timestamps. So he's able to say which blocks can go in front of the other using a timestamp. And this is why it's so much faster. Next, Cardano's launched their smart contract functionality back in August, which was about 5 years in the making. Solana did their soft launch in February last year, and they still classify themselves as being in beta. When it comes to supply, they both have a fixed supply. Cardano's a lot higher. 45 billion versus 500 million for Solana. All things being equal, a fixed supply is going to be better than unlimited. And I don't necessarily think that such a large supply is an issue. Now when it comes to speed, this is how they clock in right now. Cardano is doing around 250 transactions per second, and Solana can do up to 65,000. Now yes, with the Hydra upgrade, Cardano will be able to scale into the millions. But then Solana's big bet is on hardware. And as hardware improves, then they too will be able to scale into 1 million. But I think it's important to know what can they do as of right now. And then when it comes to the average cost per transaction, it's about 40 cents for Cardano. And it's fractions of 1 cent for Solana. So as of right now, Solana is the faster blockchain with a much lower average transaction cost. So on paper right now, Solana's key metrics to me do look stronger. Solana, as of right now, has crazy fast and cheap transactions, which are what most people have been asking for. But the big question is, well, what about the next 5 years? I assume that's what many of you want to know. Well, another key thing to look for is what is happening with the network's adoption and growth. What are the biggest use cases going on right now for both protocols, and what are their biggest projects? Well, I've pulled together a couple of clips from each company so you can hear from the horse's mouth the latest updates and what's going on with each company. So let's start with Cardano. And this was their summary from their big conference that happened this year. Cardano use cases. Let's take a look at just a few. The collaboration between you and a quant focuses on verifying identities and authenticating documents for fraud protection. The ultimate aim is to open up finance and power a real FI experience along with the Tala Prism Input-Outputs decentralized identity platform. This will ensure that Cardano stays on top of the evolving global regulatory environment while giving everyone access to decentralized finance. DeFi has done better. One of the most exciting partnerships announced at the summit brings together a Dish Network and Boost Mobile. This collaboration aims to use the blockchain to unlock value for the Dish Network's 11 million TV subscribers and 9 million wireless users. At the same time, we are bringing decentralized identity into the mainstream. At the end of the summit on the stage at Laramie, Wyoming, Charles Hoskinson brought on a special surprise guest and Coty CEO Shahaf Bar Geffen. They announced that Coty would be the official issuer of JED, a new stable coin for Cardano. Input-Output Global sees a decentralized future with entrepreneurs from Africa leading the way. That's why we were thrilled to announce a $6 million fund to support entrepreneurs based on the continent looking to build on Cardano. Now decentralized finance relies on the ability to access accurate and dynamic information securely. We announced a new strategic collaboration with Chaining Labs to support developers building smart contracts for Cardano DeFi applications. Access to real-world databases will be supplied through Chainlink's decentralized Oracle networks, which enable smart contracts execution around data sets such as cryptocurrency rates, election results, weather, and more. Another important partnership we announced, but one you may have missed, was with Oasis Pro. We're joining forces to target the bond issuance market. The point is to create a new trading system that uses decentralization to allow citizens of developing countries to participate in primary bond markets. Oasis Pro already facilitates digital cash for securities transactions. And the addition of the Cardano blockchain will help remove middlemen while cutting fees. On the enterprise side, we announced a partnership with luxury spirits brand Straight Brands implementing a Tala scan for tamper-proof software which can record and store data securely and instantly verify the origins of its products throughout the supply chain. It's set to deliver 4 million bottles before the end of 2022. Which should be more than enough to celebrate. We also saw announcements on the NFT side from the Cardano Foundation, with leading esports player Rival, a sustainability venture committed to planting 1 million trees with Verity. And Mergo's Ken Kadoma announced a new $100 million venture fund for building on Cardano. So lots of great projects are going on behind the scenes with Cardano. From digital identity to their new stable coin JED. Okay, next up, we have Solana, and there was a conference that happened just last week. And they too gave a summary update of what's going on with Solana. Solana, take a look. And it has done a ton of transactions. So many of those are votes, and that's by design. But a bunch of those are non-votes. They're now application transactions. If you look at things like Chain Crunch, there are about 700 TPS of just people using the network. I think that's more than everyone else combined at this point. The ecosystem has been exploding, and it's been truly beautiful to watch, and this is what it looked like in March, October. This is what it looked like. And everyone that I know that's trying to keep track of this ecosystem growth is starting to just give up and just focus on summary metrics and just watch it unfold, you know. Phantom has been an incredible UX effort to make that initial onboarding of the browser wallet experience as slick and seamless, and easy as possible. And it's just onboarded users so quickly they just I think maybe 48 hours before Breakpoint started cost over $1 million wallet and our extension installs. And NFTs are a thing on Solana. Only started in maybe June. Megaplex is kind of the centerpiece of its 2.2 million NFTs. It's around $1 billion of NFT market cap on Solana. The audience is another. Incredible growth story. We first, talked to Raniel and the audience team when they had I think 4,000 to wait for waitless people. And they've just been growing like a weed. They've kind of saturated the electronic dance music space. It's decentralized Spotify, for anyone that isn't familiar. Another, beautiful story. Right, users are sick of having their music taken down on all these platforms, having DRM rights expire, and the music goes away. Solana devs. This is like the heart and soul. It's growing like a weed. It seems like developers love Solana, which is also shown in kind of the team formation. It's not just people poking around. And and forking codebases, they're building businesses. Cardano pros and cons. So let's cover the main pros and cons for each. So we'll cover 3 pros, and I'll just cover what I think the biggest weakness is. Starting with Cardano and the pros. First, as it's a really strong, robust, peer-reviewed solid platform. That's taken years in the making and very well thought out. Number 2, Cardano does have a very strong community of investors. And you'll notice as well whenever there is a downturn, Cardano's price seems to be very resilient. The price doesn't go as far down when compared to things like Solana. And number 3, I do think there is a lot of potential with Cardano. And it's really interesting to see how it flourishes over the coming years. And I would say the biggest weakness of Cardano for me, I do find it quite slow moving. So it took over 5 years to get the smart contract functionality live. And when it comes to the projects and developments, I wish that they could move faster, as cryptocurrency is a lightning fast market. And I don't want Cardano to get left behind. Solana pros and cons. When it comes to Solana's biggest pros, number 1, it is lightning fast. And I believe it is the fastest blockchain on the market right now. Number 2 is the cost. You can't deny its fractions of a penny, making it one of the cheapest transaction costs on the market. And number 3 are its use cases. So it's already making a massive dent in DeFi. So it's progressing at lightning speed as well. And for its biggest weakness, I would say it is the fact that it did crash a couple of months ago. So there is a question mark on the decentralization and security of the network. Summary: Cardano and Solana are 2 of the big powerhouses in the crypto market right now. Both have seen ridiculous growth in 2021 so far, and congratulations to anyone who managed to get in early. First, up to the similarities. I think they both have great platforms and a lot of potential over the coming years. Both have a similar market cap, so they're both very similar in size, so the question is one going to be a better opportunity over the next few years? Ultimately, I have to say it's still too early to be certain on either. I do think both have a great chance to be massively